much for attending this conversation. Today, we'll talk about collaborative development of virtual learning environments to promote critical digital literacy CDL. This will be an exercise in empowerment, justice, and social transformation. My name is Edison Ferney Castrillón-Ángel, and I am currently working at Universidad Católica Luis Amigo. I'm a social communicator and a language teacher. I strongly believe that for teaching a language, you need to have a lot of communication skills in terms of putting common the language, the knowledge, the literacy practices. In that way, today we are going to discuss specifically 3 points. First is critical digital literacy, where we are going to analyze, to discuss about this interesting field, and also the main authors and contributors of this specific field. Then we are going to have some ideas, recommendations, suggestions in order to design virtual learning environments to promote critical digital literacy, specifically with pre-service English teachers. And finally, we are going to have the possibility of discuss about our challenges nowadays with these new events, new practices that we are facing. Well, critical digital literacy, CDL. This is a very new term, yes. And during this conversation, we are going to try to recognize the principles and contributions to the language field. Here, let's meet the main authors of this interesting concept and discipline. We have here Juliana Avila and Jessica Pandia, who had worked together. Even I met these girls by these interesting contributions. And this contribution, and even nowadays, I also participate in another version of the book, and the book is already published. We also have here Juliet Harrison, who had contributed a lot to reflect how our role in digital scenarios have changed and how we need to adapt, to be adapted to these new challenges that the digital environments and digital scenarios offer to us. Great leaders in Latin America and Africa also have contributed to this interesting field. We have here Carla Coscarelli, specifically from Brazil, and Valkyria Montemor, who have discussed this interesting concept, letramentos digitales, letramentos digitais críticos. Yeah, and here specifically we discussed this interesting field in terms of second language and learning languages. Okay, and also we have Maraline Pelani, a man from Africa, who have also contributed to this interesting discipline. But I really want to clarify that this is a very new concept in terms of analyzing how digital literacy is influenced by the critical field and these pedagogical and critical perspectives that we need to face nowadays. So, what is critical digital literacy? According to Aguilera and Pandya, 2018, this is a combination of several social perspectives on what it means to be literate, what it means to be critical, and what it means to live and learn in digital age. Pay attention, to live and learn in digital age. Because when we talk about critical digital literacy, we need to recognize that this is an ability to recognize throughout digital and multimodal tests how reading and writing go beyond the encoding or the decoding words. So here, making a parenthesis, critical digital literacy is not just going there to the digital scenarios and reading. No, we need to identify what is behind that test, what is the ideology, what is the relation of the power, what is the intention, who is excluded, who is included, yes, and other factors that go beyond the decoding and encoding process. That's why I suggest that this is an empowerment process to read and write the historical, political, economic, and cultural circumstances of people from digital worlds. But these kind of things happen in digital scenarios, but also influence the physical scenarios. Then we are going to discuss about. Also, we could determine that this is a skill that a person of a group of people develop to analyze and question tests that circulate in digital or virtual scenarios. Well, questionate, discerned, yeah, to questionate the test that circulates in digital or digital scenario, sorry. So we could determine here that critical digital literacy, we could conceive it as an ability to acquire, as an ability acquired that we acquire as a result of living critically on the web. Critically, yes, making question, analyzing, reflecting, evaluating the information. It allows us to reflect on the power relationships, yes, the power relations, ideologies, and integration of each test. How the test affect a population, a community, a culture, for example, we need to identify that specific issues behind the test. It makes us active consumers, questioners, and producers of information. Well, when you develop this ability, yes, when you develop this ability, this skill, you become a critical consumer of information, but also you take action and produce information. Well, that is why critical digital literacy is also in charge of questioning the inequity and gaps in the world due to the lack of technological resources. Critical digital literacy is not just for talking the advantages of the digital scenarios of the digital or the technology. Also, in that question, in that discerning process, we analyze also the gaps, the exclusions, the abuse of powers, those kind of things as well. So you could say here, well, Edison, but how to promote, yeah, how to engage critical digital literacy with the design, with the construction of virtual learning environments? Well, here we have some questions that we need to have into account before designing a virtual learning environment. First, where and when is going to be the virtual learning environment designed? Second, why it will be designed. Yes, we need to have, before the design, a reason to attend. We already identified an issue, yes, for attending. Also, what is the virtual learning environment about? Yes, I already made that observation and I identify, for example, a specific issue, and I start reflecting how to design this virtual learning environment to attend that specific problematic, for example. It could be a problematic that I have inside my classroom. It could be a problematic that is affecting my neighborhood. It's a problematic that is affecting my curricula, or not just in negative things. It could be something for pushing my students, to engage my students to continue working on a specific field. Yeah, okay, I'm going to design a virtual learning environment because my students likes to play video games, so I really want to take that into account to engage my students in this participation. Also, who is the virtual learning environment addressed to? Who are its probable users? Yes, so pay attention that we have here those questions to guide our design before making the publication. Also, who is the topic developed? Who are other ways of writing about the topic? What are other ways of writing about the topic? Maybe we could use multimodal test, going beyond that, the coding or encoding process. We could use a virtual learning environment just with pictures, with memes, for example. Yes. And also, we could reflect here, does the virtual learning producer establish an interactive, friendly relationship with the readers? Or is he distant, formal, and impersonal? So what is my target public? Yes, what is my population that I really want to impact with this design? What is the ideology of the virtual learning environment? What is the ideology? What is my position? What I want to define? What do I want to define? Yes, what I want to promote to the news? What I want to communicate? Yes, what interdiscursive elements are there in the virtual learning environment? I am aware before publishing these interesting things. And here I have another question. Who is exclude or who is include or exclude of the virtual learning environment? Yes, those kind of aspects we need to take it into account, consider before making the publication of a virtual learning environment. And when we have these interesting things, we develop critical digital literacy, but also we could develop scenarios to attend the students' realities, the context of our students. For example, I designed with my students here a grammar, a virtual learning environment, but it's because that was the reason, that was the problematic. The students had some issues in terms of understanding grammatical issues. Also, we could design virtual learning environment to promote the history of our country, for example, of our neighborhoods, of about our country, our continent, something like that. Yes, because this is the specific issue. This was the specific issue. Remember, I first made an observation, identified an issue, identified the way to contribute to attain that issue, and then I start designing, and that this is the product. Also, we could say virtual learning environments to understand our culture, because we have a lot of students that even they don't know about their culture. They don't know what is the main and relevant information about the culture. Yes, and this is very interesting to design virtual learning environments to engage our students to know about the local, about their context too. But also, when you design these virtual learning environments, you could design virtual learning environments also for identifying that exists other culture. And I could promote even interculturality, for example. I could promote, a lot of perspectives for students identify that exist others who thinks different like me, who eat different like me. Yes, and those specific things. Also, we could design virtual learning environments to reflect and mitigate the violence in local regions. As for example, Medellin, my students identify a specific issue, yes, in a specific neighbor, and they designed a virtual learning environment in terms of uh, working with the students, how these violence could affect their lives. And here we could analyze that we have some specific challenges at the time of designing a virtual learning environment. Yes, first, we need to recognize that we need to adapt our teaching and learning processes to the contemporary challenges. Even that's why we talk about new literacies. New literacies is because I have faced new challenges, new realities, and I need to be aware about how to handle, how to use that specific scenarios in practices. Also, we need to demystify virtual or digital education. We are attending this conference in a digital way, and this is something that could be also a very good possibility to be connected around the world. Of course, as a challenge, we need to make the media, yes, we need to use the media as virtual learning environments, podcasting, blogging, use of social networks as opportunities to produce multimodal tests. And with that production, with that production, we could reflect about other issues that are presented inside the test. When we designed a multimodal test, we have an opportunity to reflect, to discern, to question. We have a technological instrument to participate and reflect about. Yes, and here something for pointing out here as in one of the biggest challenges, I think that the institutions needs to open the doors, but not only for the citizens to enter to the school, but for institutions to go out into the streets. Institutions needs to go out to read the students' context, the necessities of the society. The institution needs go out to be connected with the social issues that are presented in every specific context. And here we also have virtual learning environments to question the world from digitality. And when we have these interesting aspects into account, we could design virtual learning environments to question the world from digitality, but also to read and write the digital world critically and to engage our students to develop that criticality too. Yes, that critical perspectives too. Also, we could have here virtual learning environments to reassess, because when we have a virtual learning environment, we have a channel to communicate, to raise our hands, to express our feelings, our emotions. So to reassess. Also, we could design virtual learning environments to question and disseminate the inequities and cultural gaps that exist in today's world. Remember that virtual learning, that CDL, critical digital literacy, also gave us the possibility of reflect about that inequities that we have inside our context or in other contexts. When we have a virtual learning environment with this principle, it becomes a strategy to develop critical digital literacy. We designed a virtual learning environment, but also we know what are the reasons for I am designing. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for attending this interesting conversation. I really hope this short time gave us a possibility, a path about how to take into account some principles to design virtual learning environments to promote critical digital literacy. Thank you so much. This is some contact. If you require something else, the references, and it's time to the general discussions and questions. Thank you so much.